So Jamie, I know in the importing and exporting business, keeping really good records is very, very important. And I know a lot of folks have brokers, and perhaps you do, who helps keep track of these records. But it's a good idea to audit your broker every once in a while. Is that what I hear from you?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Well, again, as I've mentioned in previous discussions, hug your broker. They're going through a lot right now under all this complexity and all the documentation and all the enforcement. They're doing their best to try and stay on top of things. And some brokers are doing a phenomenal job of maintaining the records and keeping everyone where they should be. And so there are many brokers you can trust to store your records. But you can't trust them all, and even the best ones make mistakes. You as an importer, you have the responsibility for maintaining your records. Your broker doesn't have that responsibility, you do. And the broker has to maintain their records as well for their own purposes, but you have the requirement to keep them for yourself. So if you're not keeping those records within your own business, you run risk of, having to depend entirely on them. I have seen instances, I've done many, many audits for record keeping and have worked with many, many brokers, and I've never come across a broker who had 100% of the records required and maintained. Never once. And so with that in mind, you do need to make sure that you're checking with them. If you're not keeping it yourself, you better audit them and make sure that they've got them. Because if you don't, and the government asks for those records, the penalties are not for general, this entry wasn't complete. They will charge you per document penalties that are missing. So it's extreme.
That could add up pretty quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Well, how does an audit work? How do you go about it then?
I think sample testing is always a great place to start. Ideally, 100% is what you should do, because that's what the government's going to expect is 100% audit. So there are ways of systematically being able to do that. So there are plenty of systems out there, including vigilant tools, that allow us to go in and take a look at your overall entries and to leveraging some AI to validate, are all those records present and are they stored in the right place? So there are tools out there that provide that level of reasonable care. But if you don't have the means to do that, then you at least need to try and do it on yourself and do a sample auditing. Maybe select 5, 10, 15 records a month and go out and request from the broker, what do you have? And this is also a good method, not just for the broker, but for yourself as well as an importer. Do the same thing for you. Go in, do a sample, run 10 to 15 records and just see, is everything there? I also think a really critical thing is maintaining a log. If you don't have a system that you can leverage that shows here's the entry number and the documents there, that's understandable. Then at least maintain an Excel spreadsheet that shows here's all my entries and here's where all my documents are stored. You will generally have a requirement to produce those documents in 30 days. And if you're digging around looking for them, it's terrible. Years ago, I was at Dell. I tell this story regularly. I was at Dell. We were asked to bring in some records, and it took us, we literally had pizza parties over the weekend where we were bringing in boxes from our stored facilities and going through trying to find all the documents that the government had asked for. We didn't make it in 30 days. We didn't make it in 60. We didn't make it in 90. We had 3 extensions to get all the documents together. We finally made it like on the 89th day, and we got all the records they were looking for, but that was a huge effort, a lot of time and energy. So the more you can prepare on the front end to make sure you have the good processes, the better off you're going to be in the long term.